Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special J&J Squared Circle wrestling updates and commentary. The big news of the weekend, AEW premiere 5/25/2019. Huge weekend. A lot of news to go through. Let's jump right into it, you guys. Okay, so first and foremost, before I even get started, I would like to give a big shout out to our military this Memorial weekend, celebrating all of the fallen, who fought for our freedoms, and they absolutely should be celebrated, and we thank them so much for everything that they do. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't even have, the opportunity to be able to even do this show, bring you this show live, have fun, watch wrestling, things of that nature. We wouldn't be able to do this without them. So, thank you to all the military. Let's get into it, you guys. AEW, All Elite Wrestling, Double or Nothing pay-per-view. It was absolutely sold out in 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Okay? Hardly no time at all to sell this whole crowd out. It was, we haven't heard that before in a very long time. I remember back in the day when if you wanted a WrestleMania ticket, you literally had to be at the box office with your money out to get a WrestleMania ticket. They were selling out within seconds across the nation. Seconds. It was super fast and way more than 13,000 seats. So the fact that they were able to sell these 13,000 seats within 4 minutes, that's kind of saying something. But what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go through every single match. I'm gonna try to get through kind of what had happened, what went down, and then at the end I'm kind of gonna go over my thoughts, my personal thoughts on what I believe. What does this mean for WWE? What does this mean for AEW's future? Things of that nature. So I really want to kind of go through that whole gig. I'm without my partner today. He's out there. He's not able to make this show tonight. That's all right. He'll be back again real soon, I'm sure. But let's jump into it. Let's just go for it. Let's just make this happen. So, the show was long. It was a 4-hour actual pay-per-view show. It had a 1-hour pre-show, so 5-hour runtime if you wanted to watch it from beginning to end. And the very first match of the night was the Battle Royal match. Little bit of a spin compared to what WWE actually does. Obviously WWE, you get a little bit of a countdown, and then one person comes into the ring, and then they go for it until 30. This was different. This one you get a countdown, but instead of one person, it was 5. Okay, so much different. It had a much faster pace. Obviously, you had more people in the ring at once. Constant things happening. There was hardcore stuff that happened. They brought tables into the mix. A little bit of a different scenario. Different promotion. Let's see. The final 4 of the match was the Joker, Adam Hangman Page, who actually came in at 21. I was able to nab that number for you guys. Luchasaurus, who's basically, I don't know, I could be wrong. I could be not. I kind of figure him to be kind of the the Kevin Nash of luchadors. You know what I mean? Um, Jimmy Havoc and MJF, and ended kind of in a classic kind of I don't know how you say it, Shawn Michaels-esque type of a way, where MJF tried to throw over Adam Hangman Page. Hangman held onto the rope, got back in. MJF has his back turned, thinks he won the match, gets thrown over, match is over. Adam Hangman Page wins. Purpose of this match wasn't just to give you a battle royal. It was actually whoever wins goes on to face Chris Jericho for their new title. Okay. The next match was Kip Sabian versus Sammy Guevara. Kip Sabian won that match. If you don't know who they are, don't be surprised. A lot of people don't know who they are. This entire pay-per-view was filled with indie stars. Okay, people that you may or may not be absolutely familiar with. So this is one of those situations. Great match. It was a great cruiserweight match. Nothing super exciting there. Now it's time for the show to start. So pre-show's over. We start to kick into the actual show. Cody, Brandy, Young Bucks, and Kevin Omega. They all come out to kind of jazz up the place. Young Bucks make an announcement that we've sold out 20,000 people. Cody comes out and says, "Look, we didn't sell 20,000. We sold 13,000. That's all that fits in here." And Young Bucks made a comment, "Well, it's wrestling. It's pro wrestling. We have to knock up the number. It's just protocol." Nah, what the heck? Why not? Okay, fine. 13,000 or 20,000. So, obvious dig at Vince McMahon. And after all that was said and done, you had SCU, which is also known as SoCal Uncensored, versus the Strong Hearts. And SCU came out with a little bit of a promo. This is the worst city I've ever been to, which that's kind of what they're known for. Whatever. And SCU got the win with that one. That was a great match. It was a good tag team match. I can tell you right now, guys, from this pay-per-view that they're really, really trying to show tag teams and really try to do a proper tag team match. They're really going to try hard on this one, and I give them credit for that. The next match was a fatal four-way with Britt Baker, Nyla Rose, which brought a little bit of controversy to the mix. During the press conferences, they were actually specifically asked questions regarding this issue because it's so controversial. I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to call it how it is. It was a wrestler, he, whatever, was a wrestler in the match. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Versus Kylie Ray, versus Awesome Kong. Now, some of you guys that might be from towards the end of the Attitude Era, kind of closer to the PG era, you guys will actually know Awesome Kong as Karma. If you don't know who Karma is, Karma was a wrestler for the WWE. Not very long, mainly because she wound up, she got pregnant while she was there. Obviously, she had to go on pregnant leave because you can't take bumps when you got a baby in the belly. She ended up having a miscarriage, which was actually quite unfortunate. It kind of messed her up a little bit. She just wasn't in the right place. Good old JR had to finally say, "Look, we got to let you go, but if you can get your head straight, get back into it, you'll be welcome back. She never came back. They really had a big hope for Karma back in the day. And like I said, it was actually quite unfortunate. I never wished that upon anybody, and I'm glad to see that she's back on a promotion that's actually going to be using her. But I believe and that was a last minute announcement. It was originally just supposed to be a three-way battle. It wound up becoming a fatal four-way, adding her into the mix. So I'm really excited about that. However, Britt Baker wound up getting the win with her finisher over the four. It was a good match, you guys. It was definitely the way a women's match should go. They did a really, really good job. The next match was another tag team match with the Best Friends and Angelico and Jack Evans. Best Friends got the win on this. Now, I'm going to say this. The movesets that they did during this match were awfully good. They were really good. The problem was they didn't sell them at all. The sells on these bumps, honestly, would have insulted, veterans around the world. It was really bad, and it was really tough to watch. I really think, and again too, I'm coming at this from somebody that's I've grown up and grown into watching WWE and WCW and NWA and then going back watching Legends matches and things of that nature. So when it comes to this, not only am I looking at this from an entertainment value, I'm looking at this from a more in-depth value, more of an analyst point of view. How did these guys do? Because honest to God, it's going to tell you, like in WWE standards, if you watch a show and you really watch the show, you can tell right away who's going to be around long enough for you to be able to cheer him on and who's going to be kicking rocks out the door. This is one of those type of matches that if it was in the WWE, these guys would be toast real fast, both teams. So they need to step up their game. This is AEW's first pay-per-view. They should have done a much better job. I'm kind of being a little hard on them but at the same time, I'm also saying that they had killer movesets. If they just would have sold the moves after the moves were done, okay, it would have been an unbelievable match. So I'm not going to wipe them off the board just yet, only because of the fact that they have a lot of legends that are there. If some of you guys don't know, Dean Malenko quit WWE after working there for 10 years, moved on to AEW, so they've got guys like him out there. You got Dustin Rhodes out there trying to be a mentor to these guys, as well as guys like Billy Gunn. So they're gonna get a lot of critiquing. I guarantee it. So we'll move on from there. These are gonna get a little hard for me to pronounce, you guys. So bear with me. I'm not trying to insult anybody here, but this was a 6-woman tag team match. This match was killer. Okay, so Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, and Emi Sakura, I believe that's how you say them, versus Hikaru Shida, Ryo Abe, and Ryo Mizunami. And it was a good match. They were going all out. Great match. Except for the ref. The ref rung the bell on a 2 count. The shoulder was clearly up. However, the women actually handled the situation like true pros. They kept going. They kept pounding it out. They kept wrestling, kept the crowd into it. And then finally, the actual finish did occur, and the ref got it right. And Hikaru Shida, Riho, and Ryo, they got the win on that. And the next match brought a little bit more controversy at the beginning of it. It was Cody versus Dustin Rhodes. Um, Dustin comes out to a huge pop. Huge pop. People are behind him. Everybody's a fan. You got Cody Rhodes coming out. Huge pop for Cody as well, because obviously a lot of people have a lot of respect for Cody right now, because they kind of feel like he's the one that's kind of been on the forefront, really pushing for this to happen. Of course, Young Bucks being right there with him. All three of them are VPs. So a lot of people are behind him. And the crowd's just insane. The entire match. However, when Cody was coming out, there was a throne sitting at the top of the stage with an iron cross on it. Cody grabs a sledgehammer, walks back up the stage, smacks the chair with this sledgehammer, something fierce, blows up, iron cross breaks in half. Crowd goes insane. They go absolutely insane. Goes on, starts the match up. Right off the bat, Dustin gets a huge cut on his noggin, and it actually came from Brandy Rhodes, because on Cody's cane, it had a dragon on the end, and it popped him deep, and he was just bleeding profusely. The entire match, he was just bleeding something fierce everywhere. It was something I haven't seen since the Attitude Era for sure. But they kept going. They kept pushing through it. Unbelievable match. And finally, after a whole bunch of crossroads, finally Cody gets the pin and wins the match. At the end of the match, Cody rolls out of the ring. Dustin actually starts to take off his boots, and he later said that he actually intended on leaving his boots in the middle of the ring. He actually did intend on this being his last match. However, Cody decided at the last minute to roll back in the ring, walk up to his brother and say, I'm not done with you yet, and I need you again, and I want you to team up with me to go up against Young Bucks next month at the next pay-per-view, which I believe is called All Out. You know, they hug, they cry, people are crying, because honestly, a lot of people felt like this was going to be it for Dustin. Like they thought this was it. This was the last time we'd ever see him again. So it was a bit of an emotional roller coaster there for sure. I'll get more into detail. So now the next segment, huge surprise for me, considering what had just happened. Bret the Hitman Hart. They got Bret the Hitman Hart to come out and announce the new title, the new AEW title. It's a bit of a weird scenario, considering just recently Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart were just inducted into the Hall of Fame for WWE. Now I understand that Billy Gunn was inducted with D-Generation X. However, WWE already knew Billy Gunn was involved with AEW when that occurred. So, and not only that too, they didn't really, WWE and Billy Gunn didn't have that great of a relationship anyway. So this was a little bit of a surprise for me. I'm not looking at this to be a huge deal, but I I really believe this is kind of one of those one-off things. Obviously, we'll see in the future, but it just didn't feel like something that was going to be a regular occurring thing. But anyway, he comes out to announce the new belt. MJF comes out onto the stage, starts mocking Brett about the Hall of Fame situation. He goes, oh, Brett. Well, there's a fan coming. There's a fan. Oh, and he just, ha ha, just like totally mocking the Hitman. And Jungle Boy, Jimmy Havoc, Joker Page, they all come out to basically take out Hitman and basically tell him, hey, you need to piss off, and they took him out, and that was the end of that whole segment. But the belt looks amazing, you guys. It's a good looking belt. I got to give him credit where credit's due. The next match coming up was the Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros. If some of you don't know, Young Bucks traveled over to the AAA wrestling and challenged the Lucha Bros to the Mexican tag team titles, and they won. Okay, they go back and then challenge Lucha Bros to a match at AEW, Double or Nothing. That's how this match came about. Obviously, they signed to Lucha Bros. This was a good match, man. This particular match, I have to give it to them. Like I said, they're really trying to bump up their tag team stuff. They're going to have to keep, moving the line in terms of what they want to set here, because they just simply can't stop here. They're going to have to keep progressing. So if they do indeed get better, I'm really excited to see what the future holds. Young Bucks got the win. And again, it was just a good match. Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega was the next. Right off the bat, Chris Jericho broke Kenny Omega's nose, and later in an interview, they asked him, "Well, at what point did his nose get broke? Or what move caused it to happen?" And he goes, and don't worry about my French here, but this was in his exact words. It's because I fucking punched him in the nose. That's how it happened. And so, and now this match was a classic Jericho match. These two were perfectly matched for each other. It was a classic Jericho match. It's a Jericho match that we've all seen before. He doesn't look like he's slowing down one bit. He's still got those Jericho moves. He's doing killer. And it was a decent match. I really don't believe it was main event worthy. I kind of feel like this matchup should have been where Cody was, and then the Cody Dustin match was the one, but at the end of the day, Chris Jericho is going to be, their staple star, because Chris Jericho was a bigger star than Goldust, aka Dustin Rhodes. So Chris Jericho got the running code breaker with a huge elbow drop, got the pin on Kenny Omega finally, and that was the end of that match. Chris Jericho won. And then Chris Jericho's cutting a whole promo about how they should be thanking him for what he's done for AEW. They wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. And just a bunch of nonsense like that. And they hear commotion in the crowd, and lo and behold, it's Jon Moxley. If you guys don't know who Jon Moxley is, that is Dean Ambrose. in the WWE world. Uh, as of today, which is 5/26, obviously I'm filming this a day after. It has come out that he's actually signed a multi-year contract. His demands kind of before he left the WWE was that he didn't want to sign a multi-year contract. And he wanted full control, and he wanted certain amount of money, which was an insane amount of money. I don't think he got that anywhere near that contract. In fact, I would be surprised if he even got the same amount of money that WWE offered him to stay. And it's just a real curious situation. But anyway, he came out. He hits a DDT on Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho was kind of getting in his face, so he DDT'd him. Referee got in the ring and was getting in his face, so Moxley decided to DDT him as well. And the crowd's just absolutely going apeshit. He goes after Kenny Omega. They start fighting it out, and that transfers over into the crowd. They're fighting through the crowd. They get up on the stage. Moxley finally gets the upper hand. Basically takes him down, and then that's it. And that pretty much ends the show with a few other things that happened afterwards. But that was a show. And again, I kind of want to get into the controversy right off the bat. So, obviously, there was quite a few digs. There was digs on Vince McMahon. There was digs on Triple H. In the interviews afterwards, okay, they were doing interviews with YouTubers, with Mark Henry, and all kinds of things. And they were constantly mentioning WWE. This is going to either, one, it's going to excite the AEW fans that they want to go head on. They want to break the system. And two, it's going to really piss off the true WWE fans, because they kind of feel like some of these guys have, some of these guys were given the opportunities that they got today because of WWE. So why would they betray WWE? Well, let me tell you guys something. If you're, when me and John have conversations about this kind of stuff all the time. And Bobby the Brain Heenan once said, and I have to thank John for this because he's the one that told me this story, but Bobby the Brain Heenan once said in an interview that if you're not in this business to make money, then you're not in this business for the right reasons. And that says staples. Okay, so some of these guys were offered free airfare. They were offered extra money for living expenses on the road, more money, free insurance, okay, things of that nature. They were offered a lot of really pricey things. And I can't say that all of the stars got that, but a lot of the stars did. So, but it also wouldn't surprise me if Dean Ambrose just simply felt like he was being held back and he went to AEW, took a smaller contract in hopes that later, when that contract expires, he can make bigger money because of what he was able to do with the company during that time set. And I believe that he felt that during that time set, he can actually show them that he was the man. So he's probably trying to build his product to AEW to give them something to buy. Okay? I don't think Dean Ambrose is an idiot. He's had conversations with people that are way knowledgeable than me, but I'm quite certain that that's most likely the situation here. With the hits on Vince and Hunter, they had to, you guys. They absolutely had to take these digs. Why? Because it creates controversy. There's no such thing as bad publicity. There's no such thing as a bad controversy. Controversy creates news. News puts you into the headlines. Headlines puts butts in the seats because they want to see why these people are creating so much of a buzz. And it all starts with controversy and little tiny digs at the big guy. Everybody wants to be that chihuahua nipping at the giant's feet, trying to get enough meat to become a giant themselves. And that's what's happening here. And I truly believe that this kind of was a good move for them. Okay, a lot of people can say that they burnt bridges. No, that's horseshit, because there's people within the WWE right now that shouldn't even be there because of insanely stupid things that they've done while they were on contract with the WWE, or the fact that they sued them and won. But yet, Vince McMahon sees this as, look, this is business. If I can make money off of this individual by bringing him back into my company, then that's what I'm going to do. But it's going to be with certain stipulations. And that's what Vince does. That's how he beat WCW. A lot of people are like, well, Vince is toast, and what he's done with WWE is, is sacrilege, and he's completely ruined it for the fans. No. You know what's happened is we lost WCW, you guys. We lost WCW. And in business, it is a known fact that competition makes for a better product for the consumer. It helps us, the consumer. Why? Because they're fighting to get us. Okay? So I'm going to say this, whether you agree with me or not. AEW hasn't done anything in Double or Nothing that WWE doesn't do on the WWE network every day. I want you to think about that. They didn't do anything last night that WWE can't do now. I want to go back. Kip Sabian, Sammy Guevara. I said it was a decent match. Good match. If you want to see that match, go flip on the network, watch 205 Live. You'll see at least 3 or 4 shows, 3 or 4 matches just like that on that show. Cody versus Dustin. You want to see that match? Fine. Tune in to the network and you'll find a whole bunch of matches already done like that. The only thing that I saw different tonight or last night that was a little bit different than what WWE is that they're bringing in controversial movesets, very risky movesets, okay? That WWE, some of these moves WWE banned for reasons. Okay, they're tired of losing their characters to dangerous movesets. And they're bringing these back. Okay? Fine. If you think that's going to get you an edge, they were okay with blood. They, in fact, when the blood thing was brought up, they didn't even flinch. Whatever. It happens. He was okay. As long as everybody's okay, we're good. In other words, if you go out there and you do something stupid, like hit one of your guys with a freaking cane and cut his ass open so he could bleed all damn match, if you were to do that in WWE, Vince would be quite pissed. Why? Well, first of all, that move could have injured injured Dusty even way worse. Way worse. So he's lucky that was all that was happened. Obviously the broken nose thing that happens. It just happened to Samoa Joe. He broke his nose at Money in the Bank, and that type of injury, it just happens. And that's most likely why that match got cut short. By the way, but the Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho match. When he broke his nose, that match lasted like another 15 minutes. So, if you're gonna allow your staff to work with a broken nose like that, I mean, Jesus. I mean, I don't know about you, but it seems just a little bit dangerous. I mean, you look at guys, you look at guys like like Mick Foley. Mick Foley is a walking bag of body issues. And it's because of things like that. It's because of injuries like that he had to force, he wrestled an entire match with his ear ripped off. I mean, that's no way to be. You shouldn't have to be that uncomfortable while you're doing these things. Yeah, it's for our entertainment. But you know what? I'm not a fan to watch people ruin their careers. I don't look for these type of movesets to change the game, because I have a feeling, and I'm quite certain, that over a period of time, those type of moves that are damaging are gonna stop. It's just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. And the spot, and by the way, you guys, when Brandy Rhodes hit Dusty, it was before the bell even rang. The ref threw Brandy out, and she wouldn't leave, and DDP actually came out and picked up Brandy and took her backstage. So yeah, if you guys don't know, DDP is on board with AEW. I just wanted to throw that in. And I've also gotten a few comments from some friends of mine that said, hey, what do you think? Is Vince going to be... I bet Vince is pissed right now, just totally seething. No, he's not. He wasn't even... I think those little digs, he was absolutely expecting it to happen. I think he was more focused on what they were bringing to the table. And I think he was focusing on what they can bring to the table so that they can sit down at their table and say, how can we do this better? How can we provide a better product than that? That's where WWE is going to be dangerous for AEW. And I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that AEW is going to become nothing more than an alternative. An alternative to WWE. Not an equal to WWE. An alternative to WWE. And I can see it. I can see it in the promotion. I can see it in the visual aspect of it. And it feels to me like a young party. And when you see a young party, it's usually an immature one. And what's going to end up happening is you're going to get clashes with some of these old farts in the back and these new farts that are coming in thinking that, at some point they're going to want that torch completely and they're not going to be ready for it. So I'm hoping that AEW will keep providing us with good product, and I hope they improve on what they do have. Because if they keep going, then they'll get to a big section. And obviously, we're not going to see these guys until fall on TV. We're not going to see them until fall, which means we've got at least we got one more in a month. They've already said that they're not going to do a pay-per-view every single month, so this is most likely going to be the last pay-per-view next month before they go on to TNT. But I think they're going on like an every other month schedule. And it's just one of those things. I can't say that they're going to take out WWE because I think WWE has an absolute edge. They've got 2 shows live on TV right now that are huge shows. Everybody tunes into them. One of them's moving to Fox. So they're already on major networks, already going, product already there. They've got the talent there right now. They've got the talent. If any of you guys think that AEW and their indie stars are anything more than what WWE has, you're wrong. Because they're not. WWE has the equipment there right now as we speak. They have some of the best women wrestlers on the planet in their grasp. They've got some of the best high flyers in the world in their grasp. They've got some of the best technicians on the planet on their roster. They're ready. Trust me, they're ready. And I want you guys to think about this as well. There are no real set in stone feuds right now. There's not a single feud in WWE that cannot change. I want you guys to think about that. And they've been building this up like this ever since WrestleMania ended. WrestleMania was supposed to be the show that ends everything. All roads end at WrestleMania. And they did it. Except they've held on to that. There's no real feuds. Yeah, there's matches coming and there's storylines going on. But there's nothing set. So if you guys don't think that WWE is already standing there planning on going, okay, we're going to make a move here. We're going to make this happen. You guys are naive. You guys need to be prepared because WWE is about to drop some of the best work we have seen since the 2000s. Okay, WWE is about to blow up. Don't give up on Vince just yet. Although there is a bit of a quarrel going on between Vince and Hunter. But at the end of the day, Vince McMahon may be old, but he's not senile. By no means. This is the man that single-handedly took down WCW because he saw things in people that others did not. Remember, he took WCW rejects and took them on, took them under his wing. He made all the right moves at the right time to take down WCW. And then he also single-handedly took out the territory days. Now, a lot of people say, well, that was the classic days. Well, look, you know what? I'm sorry. But if we still had territory days today, we would not have nearly the amount of excitement that we do now. He did what was right for the time. And he was right. Okay, so AEW is going to be a great alternative. They're going to put out a great product, but they are by no means going to be a WWE killer. All these backers, they can say, well, they got a big backer, people that have more money than Vince. That's fine. Hey, wow, that's great. They got more money than Vince McMahon, but they don't have more money than WWE. Period. WWE has more money than any of those backers can put together combined. They're a global conglomerate. They're a global company. They're worldwide. Okay? They got what it takes. They can dip into any handbag they want on the planet and pull people from it that will replace, all the people that they lost. There's plenty more Dean Ambroses out there. So don't think that, all because they, remember, WWE built Dean Ambrose. Nobody knew who Dean Ambrose was until WWE got their hands on him. He was just another knockoff in the indie circuit with Roman and Seth. WWE built these people, and then they moved on to AEW. What makes you think that they can't do it again? I mean, look what they've done for Kofi. They listened. They brought Kofi in by accident. It wasn't even supposed to happen. And they built Kofi up. After 11 years, they built Kofi up. And now he's the biggest running superstar in the company right now. And people want to drop on WWE? Are you kidding me? These guys wouldn't even be producing if it wasn't for the fact that that WWE put these guys on the map. Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes was a nobody in WCW wearing cowboy hats when WWE got a hold of him, and then he built the Goldust character. But nobody in the world would have let Dusty pull that character out of his ass like that. And then, let alone let him put it on TV. You know how controversial that character was, even for back then? And WWE allowed that to happen. And let's face it, you guys, they say that Cody killed the Attitude Era. Cody did not kill the Attitude Era with Dustin Rhodes. That's bullshit. That's, let's not even go there. But AEW put out a good product. I'll give them that. They put on a good show. I'll give them that. But it's not WWE. It's not the production value. It's not the classic feel. They're going to bring it. They're going to step up. It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. And that win, I have a feeling, is going to come real soon. And I think we're going to see it this week. You guys need to tune in Monday and Tuesday because you're going to start seeing something that you've been wanting to see out of the WWE product for a long time. And it's going to start. And they're going to end some of these little storylines that they got going on because they know what they're going to have to put out. I also look for Asuka and Sane to actually win those titles at some point here in the future, especially with the big push of the Japanese wrestlers at AEW. They're going to want to put out that same style of product. Everybody thinks that these two should be winning the title belts anyway in WWE. So I think they're finally going to make that move happen. You watch. You're going to start to see it. You're going to start to see it, and then you're going to look back on me, and you're going to be like, you were right. So don't doubt me on this. Okay? WWE, they know what they're doing. They're not mad. They're thinking right now. I guarantee you, they're at the round table right now, scheming about how they're going to answer to this. So, great show, great digs. Moving on to the interviews at the end. They did quite a few interviews at the end. A lot of the wrestlers just talking about things that went down. Moxley didn't make an appearance, but they did talk about Moxley. There's a lot of talk about CM Punk, possibly signing with AEW. It is possible, but however, knowing how Punk is kind of self-centered, he would never go back to WWE because of the whole situation with Vince McMahon, even though that is now over. It's been over for a while. Vince has extended his hand out to CM Punk to say, hey, listen, if you want to come back, we'll let you come back. Well, him and Kenny Omega have a big squabble going right now, and I Not 100% certain what it's about. I'm going to do my research on this, but I just caught wind of it today. And if that is indeed the case, which my source is pretty high, so I would imagine that it is indeed the case, CM Punk's not going to give in to that. And they used to be really good friends, Kenny Omega and CM. Really good friends. And if they're going through a squabble right now, I can tell you right now, the self-centered CM Punk, he's never going to go to AEW just for the fact that Omega's there. And Omega's actually, it kind of seems like Omega's kind of in that management role, you know what I mean? Kind of, because he's been in the business for a while, you know, he knows a lot of these guys, he's wrestled a lot of these indie guys, so, you know, he may kind of not want to take orders like that from a guy like Omega. So we'll see how that goes. But you guys, please subscribe, click the like button, comment, leave all the comments that you want. You know, we really want to get your comments on how you think things are going, how we can improve on everything. But I really don't want to go too much further into this because there's really not much more to say other than that. I really don't think that this product is going to take down WWE. However, I do believe that this product is going to bring us a better WWE. So, for those of you that are still WWE fans, don't give up. Just be patient. Let WWE have its moment because this is only one show, you guys. WWE can learn a lot from this one show. We'll see what happens on the next show. And I do, however, want to put this out. This pay-per-view was not worth $50. By no means. It was not worth $50. This was a $20 pay-per-view, no problem. I would have been more than happy to pay $20. I would have been absolutely satisfied with $20. I think $50 was a little bit outrageous. And digging into my pizza fund a bit, I'm not really too enthused with that. They need to put a better product out for it to be worth 50 bones. That is a lot of money for a wrestling gig, especially when your competition's pumping them out left and right for 10, 15 bucks. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and end this video here, you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, listening to me jabberjaw around, talking about all this good stuff. I apologize for it being a day late. Technical difficulties took place. We're storming over here. So thank you guys so much. This has been J&J Squared Circle. I am Josh, your host. Come back and see us tomorrow after Raw for a Memorial Day special day of Raw. Come back on Tuesday. Check us out for SmackDown. I also wanted to announce to you guys that we're going to be actually doing some 205 and NXT stuff as well. I'm going to try to keep you guys in the loop with the AEW news on Saturdays and fill you in on anything else, comments about everything else. And if you guys hear of anything and you want me to investigate and see what's going down, leave comments. Talk to me. You know, I'll listen and I'll go through it. All right? So again, you guys, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I hope to see you guys again. Have a great rest of your Memorial Day weekend. Take care, guys.